Clay McKinney, Developer On-Ramp, Introduction to CSS for Developers, and we're starting a section that's a bit of a review where we're going to redo the menu, and we're going to use some of the CSS things we learned to redo it, and it's going to be fun. Okay, so first thing is, here is what our menu looks like now. It starts with nav, ends with close nav. It's all inside of this header. So there's this header, and then there's like a big label up there, and then there's the navigation, starts there, ends there. And then it's just a collection of links, and they're separated by these pipe characters that I typed in, a vertical bar, whatever you want to call it. Okay, now I'm going to easy bake oven this a little bit. I'm going to change this into an unordered list of links with no vertical bars. Okay, so here I have it. And it's the same links. I'm just going to put it in there. I'm also going to put it on all the other pages. I haven't yet, but I will. But I won't make you watch me do that. Okay, we'll just, I'll do it after I finish recording this. Okay, so now we have this unordered list of links. Let me make my screen just a little bit wider so you can see. Okay. So each line has a list item and a link and a closed list item, and it's an unordered list, and that's all that's in the nav. All right, I'm going to shrink it back so none of it's under my head, my face. Okay, so this is our new markup, and I'm going to save it. I'm going to go over here and refresh it. Okay, so now it's an unordered list of links. We want to make it look like it did before, but without the cheating. The typing vertical bars is kind of cheating. Okay, so here in my style sheet, what we want to do is, well, the first thing is we need to turn the bullets off. So we want it to be structurally, we want the structure of the HTML to say this is a list of links in your menu. We want the CSS to display it as it was before, where it's a menu at the top. So the display should be separate from the structure, right? And the structure should be, this is a list of links. It's in no particular order. It's an unordered list of links. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. And the way we're going to do it is we're going to say, okay, now in our nav, if there is an unordered list, we want it to have a list style type of none. Let's see what that gets us. Okay, that just turns the little bullets off. So then we will set our padding and our margin. Padding 0, margin 0. We'll see what that gets us. Okay. Now we're going to say that in our nav, in our unordered list, all of our list items are going to be display. We haven't talked about this, but this has to do with how the type lays itself out. Right now they're all on a line by themselves, and that's right now the LIs think of themselves as list items still, so it's still the display right now is like a list item display, but we want to make it an inline. That means they'll all be on the same line, an inline block. All right, save that. And you can look up display in your Mozilla documentation. Okay, so now they're all in one line like they were before, except the difference is that we deleted our vertical pipes, so we got to get those back in. Okay. So we're going to get those back in by saying we have a border right of 1, I could say 1 pixel, but yeah, I talked earlier about how pixels aren't quite right. 1 REM would be way too big. So let's do 0.1 REM and see what that looks like. 1 rem solid. We don't have to specify a color. The color of the border will be the same as the color of the default text that's and notice we're not inside of a link, so it's black, right? Okay, so we'll save that and go refresh it. Okay, so now we have our border back. The border is right up against the letters, and the border is just a little too thick. So instead of 0.1, I'm going to call it 0.05. And then we need to give it some space. So we will say that inside that line, inside the border, our padding, we could say padding right, but let's just go ahead and say 0 on the top. We need half a rim of padding, 0 on the bottom, 0 on the left. Okay, that's pretty good. And then after the line, it looks like there's a space kind of built in, except for that one. I wonder what the difference is. I don't see a difference in the markup. That's interesting. Anyway, we'll put some space in ourselves. Boop. Okay. And the way we'll do that is after the line, we will say that there is margin. So the margin will be 0.5, 0, then 0.5 rim, then 0, then 0. So top right, bottom left. And this will put a little bit of space after the bar, a little bit more. Boop. Okay. So now there's space on both sides. Okay, it's looking pretty good. Looks like 0.5 made it a little bit too... let's see what 0.4 looks like. See if they'll all fit on the same line again like they used to. That's kind of problematic because, you know, we're basing our layout on our font size and all that stuff. So I'm being a little bit silly, but whatever. Okay, now the last thing is, notice that our list, it ends with a vertical bar. So we talked about pseudo classes before for link, visited, hover, and active. Let's talk about the pseudo class of last child. Let's say that our last child, we don't want to have that border. So we say nav, ul, li, last child pseudo class. Last child, and we're going to say that the border right is none. Okay, so that looks pretty much like what it looked like before, except for instead of faking it with pipe characters, we did it for reals with an unordered list of list items, and so structurally it's a lot more sound, but we made it look the same by replacing the pipe characters with borders and turning the border off of the last one. So that's pretty cool. All right, we'll leave it there for now. I'm going to do a little more changes to it in the next lesson. We'll continue the theme of changing the style of this page.